Welcome back. This is 𝗟𝗟𝗔𝗥𝗧𝗬 with Sunrise Scribbles, and I am talking to you today about how to get yourself organized, get the thoughts out of your head onto paper, and create a great plan. So today we are on step 2, which is plan. What we've already done so far is we've captured all of our ideas and we have categorized them. The next thing we want to do is decide when each of those ideas are going to come to life. So personally, I recommend planning around a 2-week schedule. A week to me feels too short. Everything's urgent. By the time you blink, it's the next week and you're doing the process again. Likewise, a month is too long. It can just, you forget about it by the time week 3 and week 4 come around and you kind of have dropped the ball and you're not doing it anymore. 3 weeks can work, but we're not going to talk about that today. What we are going to talk about is 2 weeks, how to design your 2-week schedule. Okay, so I recommend that you keep things flexible. You can do hour by hour scheduling, and sometimes that works. But if you're the type of person that burns out, what you'll find a little bit better is to plan by the day instead of the hour. And one thing that I find is that after you do a few cycles of this, you'll start to naturally figure out what your right cadence is, and you can put in the time blocks to go along with it. But in the beginning, we're really just going to look at the general day of the week that we want the content to fall, and then we'll look at the time frame later. So things like, do we want our articles to be on Thursdays? When do we want our podcasts? That sort of information. This is what my 2-week planner looks like. You can download it by going into the description and getting a link to it, but you can easily create your own as well. Just take a piece of paper, write out a 2-week schedule, or go into Excel and create something very quickly. Whatever you use, make sure that you have 2 weeks, and I plan Monday through Sunday. I like that. I like that the weekend gives me 2 days to finish out my week before I start again. I know a lot of people like me, that's how I design my planners, but some people do use Sunday through Saturday, the traditional planning system. That works as well. Just do whatever works for you. If you're going to use my planner, you'll see that it's already designed in a Monday through Sunday fashion. So like I said, 2 weeks. And then across the top, you're going to put your categories. So in my example one that I've given you, again, we're going with the Substack example, and I've got my categories across the top. So what you want to do is you want to take a look at all of your ideas and then start to put them into your plan. You don't want too many things on any one day. So you're looking at this holistically, and maybe you're looking for something that alternates every other week. Like, you don't want to write an article every week. You want to write it every other week. That's fine. You're going to put that on the every other week. That's why we have a 2-week schedule like that. Anywhere where you can see some empty space, that's a good place to potentially put something new. But having it there visually is really what's going to give you that example, that ability to see the big picture and see how everything fits together. So, like I said, pull out your content inbox that we worked on previously. Then you're going to take a look at your 2 weeks and see where you're going to put each of the content. I will show you this in example live in just a moment. And you're going to look for what's stacked, what's alternating, empty space, things like that. And make sure you leave some days open to do additional work and have time to get things done so you're not overbooking yourself. All right, so in video 4, we're going to zoom in and we're going to take a look at this at the week level instead of the 2-week level. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how this is done. Okay, so now I'm going to come out here and I'm going to plan what type of content goes where. So remember, we have our list of content from earlier. What we want to do is figure out when that content would make the most sense throughout our 2-week period. So if I look at my list, I see I have 1 podcast. So, okay, great. When do I want to release that 1 podcast? Well, maybe I will do that on Fridays. So I'm going to just put a little check mark here and here. And I only have one podcast, so I don't need to write the name of it. But if you had multiple, then you would want to write out what that is. So I'm going to say, I'm going to do a podcast every week. That's great. Now I'm going to look at my list and I see that I actually have 2 articles. I have one that I want to write on planners and one that I want to write about that's a newsletter. So when do I want to have this newsletter? Okay, so I want my newsletter to go out on Sundays. So I'm just going to put an N for newsletter. And then let's say that the article I need to write is a recurring article, and it's going to change its theme, but I know that I'm going to have one article a week, every other week, sorry. I'm going to have that newsletter that comes out on Sundays, and then I'm going to have just a regular article that comes out, and maybe I want that to come out on Tuesdays. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to put a check there because that's when my regular article will come out. And then I have 2 things under marketing. So I've got my notes and my group chat under marketing. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say the notes. Well, I see that my Wednesday is free, Monday is free, Saturday and Sunday are both free. So in order to sort of move things around, I'm going to do something on one of those days. So we've got scheduled notes and we've got a group chat. Well, Mondays are a good day to do a group chat. So let's do the chat. And actually scheduling the notes probably isn't, now that I think about it, it's not marketing because you're scheduling. So we're actually going to put that in the other column, and I'm going to say I want to do that on Sundays. So I'm going to say on Sundays I'm going to do schedule notes. So now we have a podcast that's happening on Fridays, and we have 2 articles, one on every other Tuesday and one on every other Sunday. I've got a chat. I'm going to do the chat on every week. So I'm going to put that on both Mondays. And then every Sunday, I'm going to schedule my notes. So that's how I'm going to organize myself over 2 weeks in order to get everything done that I want to get done. So join me in the next video that happens now.